Hello. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me today. Let's have a very in-depth conversation. Aren't they all? They are all very in-depth because this is a course in miracles, and you deserve nothing less than cutting right to the chase. You deserve nothing less than truth as it is. So let's talk today about what is a very interesting subject here on what we call the spiritual path, and that is our perception. This course aims to correct, to clarify our perception. We are not seeing things here in the world as they really, truly are. We see a spinning ball of rock in this thing that we refer to as a solar system, which is surrounded by other solar systems and things called galaxies and quasars and pulsars and black holes and universes and things that appear to stretch on and on and on. We see ourselves as human beings, 8 billion of us and counting. We see ourselves as separate human beings, separate from our brother, whom we look at and we perceive as other people who are out to get our stuff. And we define our personal territory, and then we defend it. Yes, like dogs. Unflattering, most definitely. But it is one of those deeply unflattering thoughts that we need on the spiritual path. Because otherwise, we just go right back to the way things were, which does not and clearly did not satisfy you, or you would not be here. You are here interested in this self-study curriculum because you have heard the call of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, and you have answered it. So very well done indeed, and welcome. Let's talk about perception. We do not see things as they are. We are not a physical body. This is not me. When you look in a mirror, the image that reflects back at you is not you, nor is the organism that cast the image in the mirror you either. We're not a physical body. This we know. We can, of course, choose to deny it. We've been conditioned to think that this finite sack of water, really, it's 80% water. We're conditioned to think that this is us. And then we're further conditioned to think that in addition to our species, we are our gender, we're our height, we're our weight, we're our political orientation, we're our citizenship, we're our country of origin, we're our ethnic group. And then we're our job title, we're our level of education, we're our social status and prestige, we're the number of followers we have on Instagram and TikTok, all kinds of labels, one heaped upon another in an endless mass of confusion. And here's the beauty of all of that. It's not real. It's not who we are. And here in the world where we appear to be individuals and all of the labels that we heap on ourselves, including the label Homo sapiens sapiens, artificial label. We appear to be utterly lost here, which is why we look to this collection of practices that we refer to as spirituality. We're drawn to it. We're drawn home, in a manner of speaking. I say in a manner of speaking because we've never left our home in God. Our perception of ourselves and our brother and the world itself is upside down. Here, as we study and practice this course, we're turning it right side up. We're writing our perception. It is upside down. It's completely backwards. And what we're all about here is a complete 180, really. An about face, a complete and total change in our perception, in the way we see things. This course helps us to change our perception, which we do under the guidance of our inner teacher. Hence the repeated statements on this series of videos about the importance of this relationship. The good thing is you're not appealing to an outside force here. You're not appealing to some foreign power when you turn to your inner teacher for guidance. The Holy Spirit is part of our mind. It is known by many names here in A Course in Miracles, which means you may call it it. It's not a human. Whatever you like. Mike, Sue, Betty, Elvis Presley. Call your inner teacher whatever you will. It's part of your mind. It's part of our mind. And it is known, among other names, as the voice for God in this course. It's the voice that speaks to us of who we are and will show us how to set all of our illusions aside if we only let him show us, allow it. A Course in Miracles makes a distinction between perception and knowledge. Here's why this is so important, and we'll just summarize this here. Perception involves a subject and an object, a perceiver and a perceived. We appear to be separate from the things, the people, the events that transpire apparently outside us and all around us. Perception is what we would call dualistic. This course belongs to a handful, and it's a rather small handful of spiritual traditions that are non-dual. Non-dual means not two. This course insists, as we insist right now, that there is only perfect oneness, and that would be true. There are not 8 billion of us, and there are not 2 of us. There is only perfect oneness. So perception, which is dualistic, can be clarified. It can be purified or lightened up or completely turned right side up, whatever verbiage you are most comfortable with. It is this complete 180 in learning to see things as they really are, learning to see things as they really are, that we're all about here in this course. This is as far as our learning can actually take us. So this course won't go beyond that. What happens when we learn to truly see things as they are is that truth dawns of itself. It's said here in A Course in Miracles that God takes the final step himself. What we mean by that is that truth dawns of itself when we have met its conditions, when we learn to see things as they really are. We go home, so to speak. Truth dawning of itself is known by many names, which I'm sure you're familiar with, like enlightenment, awakening, realizing God, realizing who we are. Some traditions simply call it realization or liberation. Yeah, that. God can be known. In other words, experienced. Even right here in the midst of all of our drama. Perception is dualistic. Knowledge is one. Truth, God, love. Which is who, what, and where we all are. And we deep down know this. We know this. We do. If you didn't know this deep down, you would not be watching this because we all know there's so much else out there to occupy your time. There are a lot of phenomena out there, especially on the internet. And you could be watching anything else, yet here you are. Very good. There's a reason why you're here today. And I invite you to let your inner teacher tell you what that is. In the course of one of these discussions, which usually run 20, 25 minutes or so, give or take a few, there's something that has already been said or will be said that you need to hear. You'll know when you hear it. That's your inner teacher speaking to you. So we clarify our perception so that we can know God. So here in the text of A Course in Miracles, we're finishing up chapter 10, section 3, which is entitled The God of Sickness. Jesus here uses the word idol and the word idols to refer to all of the things that we, without really thinking about it, bow down to in the world. And we're not talking about the golden calf or worshiping a platinum coated statue or anything like that. That's not what we're referring to. But we are referring to the adoration of an image, thinking it's you. For example, how about your prestige and social status, your bank account, the square footage of your home, for example. All of the things that we define as us here in the world that aren't us, and we defend them. We're defining and defending personal territory. We don't have to physically attack our brother, although it often comes, tragically, to that. But we attack our brother all of the time in our mind when we judge, when we condemn, when we look at what someone is doing or saying and think they're a complete idiot. And we use much stronger language than that. We're afraid here when we see ourselves as an individual, as an ego. We think that our brother is out to get us and take all of our belongings and our prestige and our social status and even our life. So enter this course, a complete 180. That's what this is all about. And let me tell you something. You deserve nothing less than complete awakening. Now, here's something. Everyone deserves nothing less than complete awakening. When we talk about the practice of true forgiveness here in this course, everyone is included. They must be included because forgiveness is either total, complete 180, or not at all. Or not at all. It's all or nothing, and no one can be excluded. And the reason for this is we need to realize this because in truth, no one is excluded. There is only perfect oneness. So what looks to be another human being in your field of vision or experience or in your mind or whatever the form takes is not a separate being. There is nobody out there. There is only perfect oneness. So, of course, when we forgive everyone, including troublesome people in your lives. Your ex, your boss at work, or anyone else that may be adversely occupying your mind. A very common and very good and practical question that often comes up when we refer to the practice of true forgiveness is, do I really have to forgive that person? Well, yeah. But here's the thing. It's all done in the mind. So this is also a self-study curriculum, meaning we take what we're willing to take at any given time. And if you have just been through a breakup or you have just had a painful experience with someone and it's too near, so to speak, or it still seems too overwhelmingly real for you, do what you're capable of. I often invite people to simply forgive yourself for spilling coffee on your white pants this morning on your way out the door to work or something. Forgive yourself for stepping in dog poop. Right? Forgive the weather or anything that pops into your mind. Start where you are. That's a very famous phrase in world spirituality. And in fact, it's a very, very good book by the Buddhist nun Pema Chodron. Start where you are. This is what she's talking about. If you don't feel that right now, today, you can forgive your mother or a historical dictator or someone that has abused you, so be it. Understand this. Forgiveness is done in the mind. You do not have to call up somebody that has harmed you in order to fully and comprehensively forgive that person. You don't have to call them up. If you need to protect yourself here in the world and set a healthy boundary, I invite you to do just that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You may need to physically, emotionally, and in cyberspace distance yourself from someone. How do I know this and can speak to this with crystal clear certainty? I've done it myself. My biggest forgiveness lesson so far in this lifetime has been forgiveness of my own mother, who was a very troublesome and abusive alcoholic. And for years, as you might imagine, and you'll know if you've been through the same thing, is that one suffers a pattern of emotional abuse for a long time until he or she finally says enough, which I did, and set healthy boundaries where we didn't communicate with one another for the last couple of years of her life. And she passed in 2016. And I had forgiven her. Without her knowledge, I never called her up and said, hey, I forgive you. I mean, you can if you want to, but that's not required. It's not required to have a conversation that's going to put you in harm's way, right? It's not required that you send a long and lengthy email or write a lengthy letter or sit down for a 3.5 hour tear-jerking conversation. That is not required. Forgiveness is done in the mind, where this entire course is done. Mind is the cause. The outside world, including the physical body, is an effect. Remember, this is a complete 180 that we're talking about here. As we perceive it here in the world, as we see ourselves as an ego, we appear to have a choice. We appear to choose, as Jesus tells us in paragraph 11 here, right at the tail end of this section, we appear to choose between gods, our idol of sickness, the physical body, our social status, all of these illusions, or God himself. So when we choose illusions, we're belittling ourselves. We're not respecting and loving ourselves because we're part of God, and one means one. You know this deep down. You choose to deny it. Yeah, of course, we can all choose to deny it, and perhaps you are. So be it. We're one. One. There is only perfect oneness. So this apparent choice that we have here in the world has nothing to do with reality. We're perfectly at home in God, where we've always been. So what do we do here? Well, we change our perception. We learn to welcome truth and to allow it to be just as it is, which is true. It's truth. Truth is true. It's perfect and whole and has nothing to do with our mad wanderings. So, because this choice appears real to us in the world of perception, we show up. This is what you do. You show up moment to moment, because the present moment is all we have, and we make the choice for God and not the ego. We make the choice for love and not fear. We make the choice for the Holy Spirit and not the ego, for truth, not illusion, for light, not dark. You see where we're going with that. Where choice appears to be meaningful on the path, we make it, and we go about effecting this 180. We go about changing our mind. Nothing less. That's what this course is all about. So once again, welcome. As we talked about at the outset, you deserve nothing less than the full meal deal, than a presentation of this course, of what it's about, really, and how you do it. Because deep down, this is what we all want, whether we say we want it or not, or whether we say we want something else. We want the peace of God. So I invite you to want that and nothing else. And what happens then when you really, truly want the peace of God and nothing else? What then do you see and experience? Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. So along the way, questions are inevitable. This is the spiritual path, after all. So if you've got questions, you're more than welcome to leave them here. We've had a number of excellent discussions right here in the comment thread on YouTube. So questions, if you have them, please feel free to leave them here. And if you have not joined us yet, we'd love to have you subscribe and join this channel. The subscription button's here in the corner of your screen. Go ahead and click on that red arrow and please join us. What we do here is we have a series of discussions, several each week. We're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, and quite naturally, in spirituality, as with all aspects of life, when we're aiming to change our mind, form new habits, consistency is key. All right. Thank you, as always, for joining me, and I will see you on the next video.